Hello pet fans, it's Jane here, Lady Patterdale. What I'm going to chat to you about in this video is separation anxiety. And the reason why I want to chat to you about this is because I think at the moment we are starting to venture out of our houses a little bit more. Whether it's we're going back to work or whether we are going to see our friends and family a little bit more. I think we're all starting to sort of get out and see our loved ones that we haven't seen for a while. That's absolutely fine, perfectly okay, but it does mean that our little dogs are maybe getting left a little bit more than they were over the last year. If you do get the opportunity to take your dog with you, obviously that's the ideal scenario, because dog gets to be with you, gets to join in all the fun, and you can relax knowing that dog's okay. If you have got to leave the dog behind, that's obviously life happens, stuff happens, you've got to leave the dog at home for whatever reason. Not a problem, it's just means that you can put some little control measures in place, and also you can train your dog as well to cope a little bit better with those scenarios when there is no option but to leave the dog at home. So how do you know if your dog is suffering with separation anxiety? Well, it's what you would imagine really. Whenever you leave the house, the dog is maybe pacing, it's drooling, it's maybe toileting indoors when it doesn't normally. There might be some howling going on. The neighbours might have complained, so when you're out, obviously you won't know about it, but the neighbours might be knocking on your door as soon as you come back saying that the dog's been howling or barking or, you know, being destructive, whatever it may be. Some dogs really get themselves into right old tiswas and will start to really kind of pant and drool and really go for it. They might even try and escape whilst you've gone, so you might come back and you notice that there's damage to furniture. It might even be injuries to themselves. There have been cases where dogs have almost known to self-harm, where they're scratching and clawing at the door to try and get out, so much so that they end up, drawing blood. So you can also get one of these Ring cameras if you are worried about your little dog, so you can almost spy on it when you're away. So set it up, I think they're about 15 quid on Amazon or something like that. You can get one, set it up in the home, and then obviously link it up to your phone, and you can see what your dog's up to whilst you're out. So you've got all these little sort of ways of knowing whether your dog is suffering or not. You can almost prevent this to a certain degree, or at least reduce their anxiety to a certain degree, by just leaving them just a few seconds at a time. Doesn't have to be minutes, certainly doesn't have to be hours, but leave them at a few seconds at a time. Maybe just pop out the house, go down to the end of the driveway and come back again, and that will obviously build that up over a few months, and that will really gradually help to ease them into the scenario if you're leaving them for longer. So that's a really, really good method. You can start doing that straight away. Just leave them for a few seconds, and they hopefully will get used to you being gone. You can also reduce the stress in them by it's where you leave them in the house. So it might be that the hallway is a trigger, because obviously the front door's there. So if you're leaving them in a hallway, that might be quite upsetting for them. So maybe think about obviously deploying the baby gates and getting them into the lounge. It might be a sort of a case of trial and error, see where they're best off, but the hallway tends to be a bit of a trigger for them, because obviously that's where the front door is. So maybe think about where in the house that you're leaving them. You can also think about getting rid of some of the triggers. So things like you grabbing your car keys, you putting your shoes on, all this kind of stuff. You can reduce these triggers, because these are triggers for the dog, and we can help to sort of eliminate some of the anxiety they may be suffering just before you leave. So maybe think about having your keys to your house or your car in your bag, maybe leaving your shoes outside, all these little things that we can do to maybe help them along. Think about it. If your dog is suffering, if you need to get in touch with me and discuss anything further, obviously you can find me on my website www.ladypatterdale.com, or you can email me jane@ladypatterdale.com, and we can have a little chat about your little furry friend and how to best discuss the way forward. I hope you found this video interesting and informative, and I'll catch you on the next one. Okay then, bye for now.